The last General Order 18, I thought it'd be interesting to take a glance at what they have here. For the Federation Judiciary, under Articles of Federation, every Federation citizen is guaranteed the right to equal protection under the law without the distinction for planetary origin, political affiliation, or social cultural identification. The Federation judicial system was created to enforce this basic right and other legislation ratified by the Council. Besides the Federation Tribunal, which is roughly analogous to ancient Terran Supreme Court, there are various lower courts located throughout the different quadrants of Federation space. You can see a little bit of a breakdown on there, and we get the Federation Tribunal and the quadrant courts. Subordinate to the tribunal, a series of lower judicial courts, district courts located on a quadrant basis per judicial blah blah blah. Federation Courts of Commerce, appellate courts, courts of directive, and let's see. So each quadrant, the Federation Judiciary remains three key elements: the Federation Courts of Commerce, courts of directive, and appellate courts. Typically established in major star systems, the Federation Courts of Commerce hear cases involving matters of smuggling, interstellar trade, relations, interstellar flight to avoid prosecution. Courts of Directive are judicial watchdogs concerned with civil cases concerning operations of Starfleet Command, although they primarily review cases involving possible violations of the Prime Directive. These are also courts that handle civilian claims against Starfleet and Starfleet personnel. Appellate courts review the decision of lower courts. Under special circumstances, local planetary governors may appeal directly to the appellate court to arbitrate questions of local planetary jurisdiction. So it's important to take into account that based off of the Federation charter, that each individual member state or planet or system, however you wish to look at it, of the Federation has the right to maintain its own judiciary system and its own set of laws, as long as those laws don't trample over the basic concerned right, the basic conceptual rights established by the Federation charter. So when the Federation, at some point, somebody is going to do something that doesn't always jive with another system's judiciary system, and this is where the Federation courts would step in. I imagine the appellate courts specifically. The fact that we have a court of directive that oversees or keeps an eye on Starfleet and its activities makes sense. It's a civilian organization in order to keep track of a military-based organization with a lot of central power. It's important to keep that if you want to have a true democracy or a true democratic mindset type. And there's a lot of arguments over the years that Star Trek, the Federation, is a socialist society, more like a communist society than a democracy. And I argue against that. I believe that it is an amalgamation of all of them. They've taken the best elements from the major known political systems off of Earth, and imagine the Andor and Tellarot and Teller and Vulcan, and mixed and melded them together. So you've got this entity that really defies normal convention. It's hard to take our modern day concept of politics and society and judicial rights and apply it over the Federation, which is supposedly taking place several hundred years in our future, where we've had some time and outside influence to moderate or modify our views on things. So, having the judiciary system makes perfectly good sense. Having a federal version of the judiciary system also makes perfectly good sense. The local judicial systems are only going to be able to handle local claims and local issues amongst their populations, and having them try to mediate or to judge something that takes place on another planet or another system with a totally alien population or alien viewpoint compared to their own could be very problematic. On the other hand, I imagine that the court systems in the Federation are also a bit convoluted as well because of this very reason. It's hard to cater to everybody. And so what they tend to do is to cater to the best interests of the whole. not necessarily the individual. And yet, in this society, in this neo-democratic, socialist, communistic society that is the Federation, the individual's rights are also paramount. It's very important in order to uphold these values and belief systems that the Federation perpetrate to outside alien races and empires, to uphold these things to some degree to an extreme level. So the individual right is very important and very thoroughly looked after to the best of the ability of the Federation and its various entities, government bodies and courts, etc., etc., in my opinion. So there you have it. In a nutshell, the Federation Judiciary system.